Yeah, I think I'm going. And I started to do this a second ago, and then the video just blinked out on me, so I guess I was doing it wrong. So I'm going to do it again. And I said, don't get bent out of shape by what I'm going to say. Just if the shoe fits, wear it. If you think what you're doing is correct, that's okay too, I guess. That's up to you. I said, as I tell people, I didn't write this book. This is God's book. And if you find scripture that says, nah, what he says is a bunch of baloney, hey, just let me know and I'll look it up and I'll look at it. That's why I tell everybody, if you got something that's what you believe and you've got scripture to back it up, let me see it. It's easy to do, especially with Google. All you have to do is say what part of what it says and it'll bring you up what chapter and verse it is. So, but as I've been thinking about this for a long time since I started teaching Romans, and in chapter 1, verse 11 and 12, that got me to thinking. But I ain't going to bring that up. I'm going to bring that up towards the last. What I got to thinking after that, I thought, well, I know there's a verse somewhere in the Bible that says, don't forsake the gathering together again. And that's in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 25. And for those who don't think they need to go to church, or they can watch church on television, or even just listen to me without going to church, I don't think that's what God had planned. And here's what the scripture says in Hebrews. Let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing. Ain't that interesting? Even back then, some had the habit of missing church. Now, some people have a legitimate reason to miss church. They might have work. They might be sick. They might not be able to come to church. They might be on vacation and going to church somewhere else. And so there is excuses for missing church, but make sure that you just ain't making excuses for why you can miss church instead of excuses why you did miss church. But let us encourage one another. Now, ain't that interesting? We go to church to encourage one another. As one of our deacons says, he comes in on Wednesdays to get refueled again. And all the more as you see the day coming, approaching, it says. So, now that's the other thing in this scripture. Nobody thinks of the day that is approaching. Any funeral you go to, the person laying there didn't know the day was coming. The time was approaching. So, instead of trying to figure out what you need to do or what you want to do, what you think is right, you need to search the scriptures and figure out what is right, because this is what we're supposed to do. And as far as finding the right church and the right preacher, you almost have to go to Sunday school if you're going to go to a church and find out whether you like it or not. You don't go there to worship a preacher, you go there to worship God. And as you go to Sunday school, that's where you meet these people that you gather together and discuss things. The one in Romans that I was talking about, chapter 1, verse 11, I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. Now that's an interesting statement. Paul's going to bring them a spiritual gift. And you're wondering, what in the world is this gift? And then if you read verse 12, that is, that you and I may mutually be encouraged by each other's faith. So as we do this, we come together, and especially at Sunday school or Bible study, if there's several of you there, you can discuss it, and everybody's got an idea or how this scripture speaks to them. So these are things I wanted to bring up on a Wednesday afternoon. And the other thing is in Luke chapter 6. I'll get my other Bible here. Luke chapter 6, starting on verse 46. And it says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say?" That's interesting, ain't it? I hope there's some out there listening that don't go to church, that think they're doing the right thing. Read these scriptures. Hunt through the scriptures. Listen to my Sunday school class. I'll put one of those up today too. So just think about these things before you say, well, I don't need to go to church. I don't like that church. I don't like those churches. I don't have the right feeling in that church. You might go have the right feeling if you go to Sunday school and get to meet the people there. That might give you the right feeling. I ask you to do all these things, and hey, this is an easy one. If you don't like listening to me, you can just shut it off.